Hi everyone, and welcome to Sales Talk. I'm your host, Sarah Campbell, and today we're joined by the inspiring Mark Candelaria, principal at Candelaria Design. Mark has been shaping some of the most inspirational residential homes across Arizona, as well as the country. So we sit with Mark today, talk to him about his design philosophy, his inspired living approach, and more importantly, how he reaches out to the community and builds strong teams. So, Mark, it's a pleasure. Thanks for joining us today.
It's been a fun week with you guys.
It has been.
Yeah.
We got to spend some time at dinner with you. Also met your daughter.
Yep.
It was amazing. And now we're in your beautiful office, Candelaria Design.
Kind of decked out as a dining room today.
Yeah, so you might think that Mark and I are getting ready to have dinner. Mark is hosting a big event tonight. So tell us a little bit about that event.
Yeah, so tonight we're doing my famous paella dinner for Habitat for Humanity. And it was an auction item on their live auction, sold for, I believe, $8,000. So we got a dinner for eight people, $1,000 a head. And all of the money goes to Habitat for Humanity.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for a long lost twin brother to walk into the room because I cannot wrap my head around how much you can accomplish in one day.
I stay busy.
You sure do.
It's part of my ADD, and I have to stay busy or I go crazy.
Yeah.
So I've just always been that way since a kid. I used to just map out every moment of my day since I've been 5 years old, and I still do it that way.
My goodness. Well, it works for you.
It works for me.
It works
Keeps
for
me
you.
on track.
Yeah. I follow you on Instagram, and I was inspired. You were at 3:26 in the morning drawing out a set of plans by hand.
Right there.
Right behind us, so we'll get a shot of that. Still hand drawing.
Yeah, I love to hand draw. It's just, for me, it's more intuitive. It engages my subconscious to every part of that house in a very unique way. And it just enters my brain in kind of a more spiritual, soulful way than on computer or CAD.
Love it.
And now I used to draw on my drafting table, but now I can do it on my iPad, and which is great because now I'm not anchored to my drafting table. I can virtually draw anywhere.
On the go.
So yeah, I can be on the beach or in Italy, and I'm drawing away.
That's perfect for you.
Yeah,
you can maximize every minute of your day.
It's pretty nice.
Even more.
Yes.
Yes.
And I love getting up early because it's quiet and I'm not, interrupted by or thinking that I need to check emails because no one's sending me emails. And,
right.
And it's just a great time when I can get a lot accomplished between like 4 and 8 a.m. I can get 8 hours of work done in 4 hours.
Yeah, there's something to be said about that. It's I think it's a big reason why we're sitting with you today is, the theme of these sales talks is to let our sales professionals know a little bit about the industry, more about how to prospect architects, designers, contractors. But what I really want to focus on with you today is understanding that architects can be kind of this big scary entity that we get into our own minds about how do I speak to an architect, how do I work with an architect? And yes, you need to be technical, yes, you need to know your stuff, but working with you or even spending time with you, we have to realize that you're a fully functioning human being with loves and passions and family. So
right. Well, you did it the right way by taking me to an Italian restaurant for dinner. That definitely got my attention.
Yes. And I love good food. We know that you love good food, and we'll talk a little bit more about your background with that.
Yes.
But before we do that, you shared a really lovely story. I want to get to know you a little bit more, and we want our guests, our people watching, to get to know you a little bit more as well. How long have you been in architecture?
Well, technically, since I was about 3 or 4 years old, but I really got into the career in my early 20s when I was going to school at ASU and dropped out and started working for my professor.
Yeah.
But I really got into the whole career from my mom taking us to model homes when we were kids. And I would just go through these model homes and I get the brochure with the floor plans and then walk through. And so I really got a clear understanding of how floor plans worked when I was, 4 years old. And then I would go back to our home. We had this big field behind our house, and I would subdivide the field into lots, create a brochure, then draw floor plans. And when my relatives came into town, which I'm sure they still remember this, like, oh my God, he's gonna sell us lots again. I would sell them floor plans, and then I would build a Lego model and walk them through it because I was learning all the shtick from these sales guys. And it just became ingrained in my soul. And, my mom loved it, so she encouraged me, of course. And I've just been doing, then junior high, I took drafting, high school, I took drafting. And so it's just been part of my life since
you were 3.
Since I was about 3.
So just inspired by the sales process, the
Creative
creativity
process, yes.
process of it all, and that has spawned into what we see from you today.
Right.
Which
Yep.
is truly the most beautiful architecture I have
Thank you.
ever seen. You're very welcome.
Yeah.
There's definitely a passion and a theme that weaves in and out of these spaces that you get to create. So
Yeah, and I'm very lucky because if you look at the board behind me, we have designed houses of every style. I don't tell people we don't have a look. It's a feeling. Our houses have a feel.
yeah.
So whether it's a modern house or a traditional house or a French house or a log cabin, when people flow through the house, they always tell me, I don't know what it is about your house, but it just has this great feel. All the stuff I learned from those sales guys in the model homes. So.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're designing a home and you're sitting with a homeowner, a potential client, what are the questions that you like to ask your client to help create that feeling, if you will, into this dream home that's going to become theirs someday?
Yeah. Part of it really for me is finding out how do they want to use the home. Do they cook? Do they entertain? Do they do family functions? How do they celebrate the holidays? I've designed homes for people of all different religions. How do they celebrate their holidays? And so the more I can really get into who they are and how they live, the better I can design their house for them. And when we design a house, we just started a new house this week. We design real collaboratively. It's not like they give me that list and I go to my iPad and draw a whole floor plan and go, okay, look what I came up for you here. That to me when I do it that way, it's like it's my house, it's not their house. And I'd rather design their house with them. So when I design a house, I design it virtually with little room pieces that we just move around and map out on the site. And the house just kind of organically forms right before their eyes. But they're involved in the creation of that house. And I have just my 40 years of database that's spewing out.
Sure.
So, oh, you like that idea? Well, let me show you this picture. Oh, that's exactly, I love that. So it's just, within 2 hours, I have a plan that they like. And I'm not trying to sell them into something that I like. Does that make sense?
It definitely makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's collaboration, also your intuitiveness,
right?
And understanding from your background in entertaining and asking those really important questions. And that's a big takeaway for us as sales professionals, is to ask and keep asking and keep asking.
It's not about me, it's about them.
It's about them.
Yeah.
It's about them, because they're going to be the ones that are going to be living in this home, seeing their families grow,
right,
handing it down to the families.
Yes.
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 That's
so
wonderful.
It's a fun process, and I love just the experience we had this week with this new client, just watching their eyes blossom when they're like, oh my gosh, yeah, I do see, that's going to be so cool.
Yeah.
So it's fun. It's all about energy too, and so I'm always trying to amplify their energy to get excited about what we are creating together.
Yeah. Have you ever had a moment, and I know this can happen when we're working with clients too, where maybe the relationship or the vibe's a little off, and you're just like, gosh, how do I jump over that little hurdle to get on the same page with my client?
Yeah, it happens. It happens for sure. What I've learned with that, it's a lot of times persistence in a friendly manner. It's like keep listening and keep working through it, and find the path that gets them excited again.
Okay.
And sometimes it takes effort.
Yeah.
Sometimes it doesn't happen instantaneously. It's great when that does, because then you just jump onto the next, square on the hopscotch.
Yes.
But sometimes it takes a lot of effort, and it's not an easy path. And I've just learned to be very patient and make sure they know that I'm listening to them, and we'll get there. You know, sometimes it just takes a little longer.
Takes a little longer.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's what it is too, is not, you know, if you have a game plan, we always want to like stick to the plan, but you have to be really nimble.
You have to be able to call audibles.
Yes, calling audibles.
You can have a total game plan, and there'll be some curves thrown at you, and if you're not ready, you're going to be stuck. And you got to know there's going to be curveballs coming. And when they come, and what happens over 40 years of doing this, you start to learn when the curveball is coming. You start to see it. You go, oh, I know where this is going to go. And then you prepare and you go, okay, this worked really good last time, but maybe I tweak this a little bit this time. And so I think when I was a lot younger, the curveballs would really throw me for a curve.
Yeah,
you know.
absolutely.
But now as I'm older, I actually kind of like them, because it's like, oh God, I love this. It's a curveball. Here we go. We're going to show them how we can do this. Mm-hmm. So it's the way your whole mind flips on things, and experience and wisdom.
Wisdom, experience, and just being nimble. So,
yeah.
I don't want to lose sight of how long Candelaria Design has been around. When did you start your own firm?
So I'm going to back up a little further. I started working with George Christensen and CCBG when I was 21 years old in 1982. And I started as a draftsman because I dropped out of college, dropped out of ASU, but got a job with my professor. So I got hands-on apprenticeship, which I think was a much better education.
Yeah.
I worked for him as his draftsman for about 5 years, and then they made me a partner. And then all my buddies came out of college, and I was a partner, and they were in debt, and they were draftsmen. So it worked out really well.
It sure did.
So I worked with them for 18 years. And then when he retired, the firm kind of started drifting more commercial. And I really loved residential. And so in 1999, I started Candelaria Design.
1999.
Yep.
It's a great year.
Yeah, it was a great year.
Prince wrote a song about it, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right.
And I know you're big into music. There's actually a beautiful piano off camera right now.
We'll be playing tonight at our dinner.
I love that. I love that. So music, that's a big part of who you are and what you do.
Yeah.
So 1999 started with you. How many employees did you have?
So I have a classic photo of me and my two dogs. They were my two initial employees. Then I have a photo with plans strapped around their neck, and that was my team.
That's amazing.
But then I kind of grew pretty fast. I mean, we grew to probably 30 people by 2006, or 26 people. And then, of course, 2008 happened, and we dialed things back down. And in the course of doing that, I really found where my sweet spot is in terms of how many people I want, how many projects I want to be doing at any one time, and being able to keep my eye on all the projects.
Yeah.
So we're like 15 people right now, and it's just about perfect. And ironically, it's the same number of people I take on my tours. I found that 15 number is just the perfect, 15 to 16 is just the perfect number of people where people stay together and they don't start fractioning off into little cliques or you're too small that you don't get enough energy.
Yeah. 15, that's a great number.
Yeah.
That's maybe your lucky number. Kind of keep it that way.
Yeah.
Mark, about how many houses are you working on at one given time?
You know, it varies, and they're in all different phases, obviously. Some are in design, some are in construction. We've got a lot of small projects like little guest houses and room additions, all the way to a house right now that we're doing that's 64,000 square feet. So it's a wide gamut.
Sure.
So to answer that question, it's usually around 50 to 60 projects that we're doing at any one time, which sounds like a lot, but with 15 people, that's 4 projects, so it's not unmanageable.
Okay.
And like I say, I'm involved in all of them, and I can tell you what baseboard is in each house in any room. You know, I know it.
You can wrap your head around that.
Yeah.
Well, it gets me to a really important question, again, why we're here with you today. Obviously, love spending time with you, but there's some great insights that we gain from speaking with our industry partners and vice versa. When it comes to Sierra Pacific Windows or any of your partnering manufacturers, when do you like to see something like windows and doors come into the conversation?
Well, windows and doors is probably one of the most important ones that we get involved with. The interior designers get into materials and appliances and plumbing fixtures and all that stuff. But windows and doors kind of fall into our zone. And I have made it a real point to not just pull out a catalog and show the catalog to our clients. I like to physically take them to the showroom and let them touch and feel and see the track and see how things slide and crank the windows, look at the screens. And at first, when I suggest that to a client, they go, really, we have to go to a showroom? It's like, oh, you know. And then they go, and they always come back to me and go, I am so glad you took us there. That was one of the best experiences, and I'm so excited about our doors and windows. I always tell people doors and windows are one of the items in the house that really make the house. I can be in a house with crummy windows, and I can be in the same house with great windows, and the whole house feels completely different.
What is that feeling? What do you think it is with windows and doors?
You know, I think it's just the look, the feel, the way they operate, you know, the energy efficiency, the sound efficiency. And I've learned that so much from our remodels. When we get a job and they've got crummy windows, and then we replace them with a product like Sierra Pacific, and the client goes, we didn't do anything else in this room but change the doors and windows, and it just feels like a completely different room. I said, exactly.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot to be said. There's a lot that goes into windows and doors, and obviously the technology is ever evolving in those. But weaving them into your architectural spaces as well, and knowing that Sierra Pacific Windows has a great opportunity to be able to customize.
Yes.
Custom grills, sizes. If there's something that you don't see in our showroom or in our catalogs, most likely you can push us a little bit to be able to create that.
Yeah, no, I've noticed that.
Yeah.
And you guys have been great about that. Because I mean, we get all these I mean, so much of how these houses have evolved over the last few years is just the whole indoor-outdoor aspect of these homes.
Sure.
And kitchen windows that slide and pocket away, and bars that are indoor-outdoor, and whole rooms that the whole corner slides open.
Yep.
And I always think, well, okay, we've seen it all, and then we come up with some new cockamamie way of doing something. Like, could you guys do this? And like, oh, wow, we've never done that before. Let's put our heads together and figure it out. So I love that. I love the inventiveness and the creativity that I see from you guys.
Well, thank you. And I know you've been a huge, you know, advocate for Sierra Pacific Windows. When we start to see things getting bigger, grander, more, you know, abstract ways of opening and closing doors, is that inspiration coming from you into the design, or is it something that the homeowner is bringing into the space?
It's usually I'm the one that's pushing the envelope.
Okay.
You know, the client's like, well, we got this, and I said, what if we did something like this? They go, oh my God, can that be done? I said, well, I don't know for sure, but let's find out. And so, yeah, a lot of these new ideas we've done just from inspiration, and then sitting down with your team and making it happen.
Well, a lot of the stuff that we're seeing coming down our pipeline too, from a innovation standpoint, does come from working with somebody like you and our architects that, you know, push that envelope and want to see things a little bit more unique and different.
Right.
So it helps us to know what's going on out there in the architectural world.
So everyone's gotten so caught up in the thin lines.
Yes.
You know, it's like virtually the idea is to make the window almost disappear. Yeah, so we've done where we bury the bottom sash virtually into the floor, so it's virtually floor to glass.
Yeah.
You know, and things like that. So it just, it never ends. I'm always surprised, again, in doing this for 40 plus years, how you think, okay, that's the end of the story, but the story just keeps going. And there's just always new twists and turns that keep coming.
There's a lot of trends that come and go.
Yeah.
I feel like, you know, being very much looking at your designs and seeing them, there's always this theme that kind of sits true, and it's just inspired by just living, like you said. There was something you said a little, you know, earlier about the experience of it all.
Yes.
So when you are having your clients go into a Sierra Pacific showroom, it's the experience of it. You can't grasp, you know, how to operate a window and door, what it's going to look like, even in scale, in a showroom. So with that experience, let's consider a great takeaway for our sales professionals out there when Mark Candelaria is sending their, you know, his homeowners into the showroom. What expectation do you have from us to your homeowners?
Well, I try to make those sessions just real informative, and clients want to always look at a lot of options. And so it's usually about a 2-hour meeting. We're usually there for a couple hours. And so it's like you said, how do they place the muttons, you know, from door to door? How do we take the time to make sure those align?
Right.
So we get into a lot of details, and especially with a lot of these multi-slides, what does the track look like? How is it weatherproof? How is it waterproof? Do you want just a single glide, or do you want the big track that? So there's visual aspects that we want to get their input on, and And then, you know, the next part is always the once we're under construction, we get into the shop drawings. And that's where it gets super technical.
Yes.
And, you know, that's basically, once we sign off, end of story, those windows are being made.
Yep.
And so I have found that doing that initial meeting in the showroom really helps the shop drawing process, because they have just so much. What's a spacer bar? Well, they know, you know, do we want it black? Do we want it aluminum? So all these little details, they have now been educated, because we did this 4 months ago. And now when we do the shop drawing process, it's almost like you can take that to the next level with them, because they understand it.
Yeah, that's a great takeaway right there, is just to align with the architect. But I think also too, you know, if you're bringing a client in to meet with me, for example, you know, I want to have a call with you before. You know, what are we thinking? What's the inspiration? And
Right.
more importantly, what you're expecting
Yeah.
from that meeting as well.
Yeah, and we do that a lot, where we'll call ahead of time and say, we got this client, we want to look at some of these things, because I want to prep your sales team so they look good for me.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, all of this is about good communication and just good preparation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Relationships, communication, preparation,
Yeah.
really, really important.
And then I try to, you know, after the meeting, I try to call back and say, hey, thank you very much for doing that. Here's a few more questions that we've come up with. Are there any takeaways you have that we need to be aware? I find that the follow-up is just as important as the lead-in, because it's just, again, the more communication, the better everything seems to turn out.
When is that follow-up happening? Because that's something that we could all, I think, just in life and in business be better about, is follow-up. When does that follow-up happen for you?
So when we have this meeting with the client in your showroom, we take really copious notes and take photos of the things they looked at and put those in the notes, because clients have a way of forgetting what they saw and
Well, it's
talked
a
about.
lot, too.
Yeah, and it's a lot.
Sure.
And usually from those notes, there'll be some questions that, oh, I didn't understand that. Okay, now I get that. Can you follow up and ask this? So the notes kind of are a segue to that follow-up conversation or sometimes even a meeting.
Yeah. Well, we understand too that the architect is first in the door. I mean, you guys are conceptualizing the home, what it's going to look like, feel like, the flow of it, and then even more importantly, the structure of it, what the structural needs are, what those windows and doors need to be capable of doing in that space. Because we could build something big and grand, but if it's on a bluff or if it has high exposure, we need to make sure. High winds, hurricanes. We need to make sure that those products that we're recommending are going to be, you know, structurally sound.
Right. Well, we got so many projects now where, you know, they want 20-foot windows or 14-foot tall doors. You know, it's like, well, how are we going to carry the weight of the transom above that door?
Yeah.
And all these little details that are just, to me, they're just fascinating. And then how are we going to finish that transom bar? Is it going to be wrapped with millwork, or is it going to be wrapped with metal? And there's so many little details that go into every part of it.
I agree, and I think too, it's, you know, we have to be comfortable too as sales professionals when we're seeing some of these big grand drawings and concepts. It's okay to say no.
Yes.
It's okay to say no.
I'd rather hear that it can't be done, and then we find a solution that keeps everybody happy.
Yeah. You know, Mark, we're not able to make, you know, this 20-foot piece of glass, but would you be okay if we added a transom?
Yes.
Would you be okay if we were to break this up with some structural mulling? There's always going to be a solution, but, you know, we can't always say yes to everything.
Right. There's nothing worse, I find, than when the sales team and I'm not saying you guys do this, but I've had this on other companies, where they just make a decision and go with it, and then you go out in the field and you go, where did this come from? You know.
Well, that's the other thing too, is not to drop the ball in the communication. And say, well, we just had to do it this way. Well, that throws off the whole flow of this this room or this opening. So let's.
I like to say the windows and doors are so important. They're like the most visual, impactful element in the house, I think.
Well, I agree with you. It's a big reason why, you know, we do what we do.
Yes.
Well, thanks. Those are some great insights for us. A lot of things to be able to take away from, you know, your expectations of what we do in our showroom, and vice versa. And I think one of the takeaways there is the follow-up, right? Is making sure that when we're stepping into the showroom, we're giving your homeowners an experience as well as you, and then that experience carries over all that excitement because you've got them excited about
Yes.
what they're going to be living in.
There's two other things that I've noticed especially over the last 5 years, is during construction, I like to get the window rep out and make sure that the install has been done properly.
Okay.
Or if just walk the job and just let me know if you see any red flags on anything. That's been super helpful. The other thing that we've been doing a little bit is at the very end of the job, when the homeowner's moving in, see if there's any problems, see if the slides work, if there's any little issues.
Yeah.
And there usually aren't, but there's sometimes, one track doesn't work quite right or something. And instead of the builder reaching out to you, I find it's really great to have the sales team right there with the homeowner, because it's just showing you guys care, and
Yes.
it's great service,
Yes. So knowing when the install is going to happen,
Yeah.
right? Being there on installation day just to make sure that everything is doing
being
what it's supposed
done the
to
right
do.
way.
Done
And
the
I
right
know
way.
a lot of the builders contact you to do that, but sometimes I just like to meet you out there and make sure I've also been aware that that has happened.
Yeah. Well, it's important for us to know too, as busy as you are in that showroom with your homeowners. You are on the job site when installation
Yeah.
has happened. You are there when, they're getting moved in as well. And
I'm
the
there.
final
I'm there a year later when I'm cooking dinner for them in that kitchen, and I'm
Oh
sliding
my
the windows
goodness.
open.
Wait, is this part of your...
It's part of our whole contract. Is
Okay.
I get to come cook in your kitchen when
Oh
the
my
house is
goodness.
done.
So this actually leads us into to you as a fully formed human being and a beautiful person. That you have this tagline. Would you like to share it with us?
Inspiring living.
Yes.
Yes.
I wanted you to say it. I love
Yep.
it. Yeah.
That's our whole mission, is inspiring living with everything we do. And our houses obviously are a great vessel for doing that. But we do our tours, we do cooking. We're not just about producing a set of plans. It's about producing a memory and experience, something that's going to inspire the way you live every day.
Yeah. That just it gets me emotional. I think when we're in the nuts and bolts of this industry, right? Construction is a tough industry.
Yeah. And it takes a long time.
It does. It does. There's a relationship there. Oftentimes, 2, 3, 5 years, right? That
Yeah.
you are part of these people's lives
Yes.
and families,
Yes.
and you become part of the fold with them.
Right.
So, does that tagline anchor you when there's a little bit of kind of frazzled or frustration that's coming with the project? Does it help to bring you back to what's true to you?
Yeah, and part of it too is, again, like I said earlier, I have a couple my own personal taglines. One is keep going, and one's outlast them. And I've learned that, you can be going through the worst of experiences or episodes or whatever. It's all about outlasting it, getting through it, keep going, push through, and eventually you're going to get out of it. And hopefully you're going to learn a lot from it. And I always say that some of the most creative formulas or outcomes or creations that we've had on our projects started as problems that all of a sudden we said, well, gosh, what are we going to do here? Well, what if in fact, we had something like this yesterday, and we tweaked the whole thing, and it's like, now the room is totally perfect, it's centered, you got a little extra room here, and it's like, the problem actually created the perfect solution that we would have never come up with had the problem not happened.
Do you find when you have those little problems, collaboration, are you doing this on your own on the job sites? Do you have somebody there with you?
It varies. Every situation's a little different. I love collaboration, and I love collaboration in person because the think tank happens so much faster than emails or even on Zoom.
I agree.
And so I love think tanking with the subs, with the trades. They're the guys that are going to eventually have to do this.
Right.
And how can it be done? And so I love think tanking with all hands on deck. And we've come up with great solutions by doing it that way. So
That's fascinating, because I know we can, again, kind of behind a computer screen, and we're connected, iPhones and iPads and laptops, that we can do a lot of our work on the go.
Right.
I think a good takeaway is just to slow down enough to be like, you know what, let me just call Mark. Let me see if I can stop into his office. I'm having a hard time wrapping my head around this or communicating. Well, can I have 15 minutes? I just want to sort this out.
And it seems like when you said slow down and take the time to go call or meet, it sounds like that's going to waste time or take too much time. But if you add up all those emails down the road,
Yep.
you've actually compressed time tremendously.
I agree.
And I'm stressing it to my team all the time. Pick up the phone, make a phone call. You can document it with an email, but you have to do 40 emails to get to the answer you were trying to get in 2 seconds on a phone call.
Yes, that's a really powerful one. I found myself doing that too. Just emailing, and then, I'll call an architect and be like, Mark, you know what? I hope you don't mind. I'm calling you because I am emailed out, and usually they say the same thing.
Yeah.
I am too.
Yeah. Just solve it. Let's just get our brains together. Let's solve this. And then we'll write one email summarizing how we solved it.
That's important. Just to remind us too that there's important information through that phone call. Still take a couple notes.
Yeah.
Email right after. Be done with it.
Right.
Move on, so then you can keep inspiring.
Right. Now, like yesterday, we had a good example where we had the client, we had the designer, we had the builder, and we had ourselves. And within an hour and a half, we had solved, I think, would have taken 2.5, 3 weeks of emails and back and forth. We solved it in an hour and a half. And everything was solved, everything was documented, and we're done.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's a good day.
It's a good day. And we had fun. They were laughing. You don't catch a laugh in an email.
You don't.
But you do in person.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. And I'm sure there's moments too where things are a little hot and heavy, and you have to kind of put that armor on.
Yep.
This is going to be a difficult conversation. I may have made a mistake, or there's something that's not working correctly, but being okay getting uncomfortable.
Right.
Speaking to the architect, speaking to your contractor, to whoever it is that you need to work with, say, my goodness, I missed the mark on this one. I want to make it right.
Yep.
What can we do?
I found that is the best marketing you can possibly do than running an ad in a magazine that costs $10,000. Like, step up, let's get it fixed, let's take care of it, let's keep our client happy, let's move on. It's the best money spent.
Yes, just best money spent.
Hopefully you're not spending too much money doing that, but
well, it's investing in yourself and believing in yourself.
right.
I think that's
and
a huge
investing in your
investment.
client.
Yeah.
And keeping
Even
your
more
client happy.
importantly.
Yep.
Yeah, then you'll have a client for life.
Forever.
If that's the case.
Yep.
It's okay to admit that something has gone less than perfect.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, your lifestyle tours. Let's talk about
26 years of doing them
26 years. For those that are listening, Mark, tell us a little bit about your lifestyle tours and what that actually has done to branch out into the community and inspire your architecture.
Yeah, so the whole thing started with a client after I first started the firm. He wanted to do a Tuscan house, okay? And so I was being a little bit cocky, and I said, well, why don't we go to Tuscany? I'm like, oh, I hope he goes for this. and he goes, oh, that's a great idea. We really should, because we could research the style. And I said, yeah, keep going. And he goes, that's Tuscany, that's in California somewhere, isn't it? I said, no, it's in Italy. He goes, oh my gosh, I've never been to Italy. Have you? I said, I've never been to Italy either. I said, well, why don't we go? I said, I'm also doing another house with a client who's a travel agent. Let me talk to her. So I talked to her, told her the story, and she goes, I've got this great place in Umbria. It's right next to Tuscany. And my husband and I will go with you. And we'll show you, we got these great sources for doors and fireplaces and all this stuff. And so that was technically our first tour. And during the course of that, the two clients said, you need to start doing this. This is a cool gig, and now you know where these places are. And so I gave it a shot. And the next year I had like 5 people come. The year after that it was 12, and off we went.
Wow.
And since then we've added Spain, we've added France this past year. We went to Oaxaca, Mexico a couple years ago.
Oh, I'm jealous. That's on the bucket list.
It was so good.
Oh my goodness.
And we're working on another France tour for 2027. And our Italy tour in 26 is already sold out. And then we've added a domestic tour for people that don't want to go for 2 weeks. We have an Oregon wine tour that goes from Thursday to Tuesday. And this will be our 3rd Oregon wine and food tour. So it's just 5 days of drinking wine and having great food with me in a row. And
sounds terrible.
Yeah, it's tough.
Oh man, that's a rough go.
But like you said, what we've gained from that, and what I love is I have a mixture. Like on this France tour this year, I had one of my stonemasons and his wife go on the trip, and I had a couple clients, and I had a couple realtors. So it's a real diverse group of people that would probably never meet otherwise. And the feedback I've gotten from these tours is the best part of the trip is not where we went, but the friendships that we made.
Oh,
And
well, I think we have to remind ourselves too, off camera we were talking about just kind of this kind of pull away of people. And there's easy ways to bring people back together through these lifestyle tours. through being in your community, just even spending time with your neighbors.
Right.
I don't want to get too off on a tangent because I want to come back to that. But when you're doing these lifestyle tours, are you teaching them architecture? Are you inspiring them to look at architecture a unique way? Or how does that kind of weave into working with your clients to help them design their homes?
Yeah, it's more about the lifestyle than it is about the architecture. I mean, the tour really is not an architectural tour. It's more of a lifestyle and living tour, and food and wine and just how they live and just how a space influences the way you live.
Okay.
So it's more about that. And so we have like a cooking class during the trip, and people go, this is so much fun. I said, we should do this at home. And so hence, we brought the kitchen here in our office because of learning that from the trip and what it does to unite and just bond people together, And so there's been this little aspects from those trips that I've really just incorporated into my business and into my own personal life, and hopefully our clients have done the same thing.
Yeah, there's something important in that, and going back to when we first started this conversation about understanding that architects are not this kind of big scary being, right? They're humans. They have passion. What I get from it is that when we're out there prospecting and we're wanting to work with a new contractor, a new architect, new designer, is sure, making an appointment to get into the office, but also maybe doing a little bit of research, knowing where you are in the community. And for us to do what you love, join a group, maybe join some sort of thing outside of windows and doors, network, because people like to buy from people they know and trust. Right.
It's all about relationships.
Yes.
For
so, knowing that there's avenues out there besides just office visits, but, I think for you had a happy hour this week.
Yeah.
So maybe asking if you can be a part of that, or can you host something at an architect's office, just to let the people that are there know who you are. You're not selling anything.
No. Lunch and learns are very popular.
Yeah.
Our office loves those.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah,
that's really good to know.
They got to eat lunch anyway, and we got the windows there, and they can talk about it, and they're kind of a captive audience.
Yes.
I have people come out of those and go, I never even knew that product existed, and this is so cool.
So lunch and learns are still really impactful for you and for your office?
Yep. And little happy hours where we bring the product and have some wine and cheese and get to know each other. And
I think that's the biggest thing, is getting to know one another as human beings and just coming together.
Yep, for sure.
Well, Mark, you are very much involved in philanthropy.
Yes.
There's a couple great causes that are near and dear to your heart. Can you talk a little bit about that and what that's brought to you and your team? Yeah,
so for instance, tonight's dinner was an auction item for Habitat for Humanity and their Blue Jeans and Blueprints event. And my paella pan, it's about this big, sold for $8,000 for 8 people. So that all goes to charity.
Lovely.
We sold, I think, 10 of those last year to different charities.
Oh my goodness.
So Humane Society, Habitat for Humanity, Gigi's Playhouse, we do a bunch of them. I'm on the board of Habitat for Humanity, and it's just one of the best organizations I've ever been involved in. They do not waste a penny. They are the most, not frugal, but they're just such a honest, their money goes right to the source. It's not like it's going here and there.
Sure, yeah.
So I'm really proud to be a part of, because I see the impact it makes and how well the dollars are being used. And so that's one of my favorite charities. And then I'm on the board for Scottsdale Arts, and that's a lot of fun, just being involved in the arts in this community. And so yeah, giving back is a big part of our entire culture here at Candelaria Design. We like to be involved in the community. We do St. Mary's Food Bank. I cook with all the great chefs down at St. Vincent de Paul once a year. We did 2,500 steak dinners, one lunch last year.
2,500?
2,500 people we fed.
Oh my goodness.
In like 2 hours.
That just gives me chills just to see that passion, the passion that you have just in your own day-to-day, but bringing that into people that are in need or into a charity. What made you pick Habitat for Humanity? I
think they picked me, to be honest with you.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, they reached out to me and said, would you be interested in potentially being on our board? And I go, gosh, yeah, that was an honor, And I think I've been on and off the board now for close to 10 years. We designed the first 3D printed house for Habitat for Humanity in the United States.
You did?
Yeah.
Where is it?
In Tempe, Arizona.
Wow.
Yeah, and the beautiful family lives in there. I cooked them dinner in the 3D printed house. We have the 3D printed island in the kitchen. It's really cool.
How do they 3D print a house?
It's all out of concrete. So
it's like, looks like a kind of like a, not to be crude, but a tube of toothpaste almost,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
I've seen videos of it.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's so in Arizona, that's amazing.
First permitted 3D printed house in America.
What'd you think about that?
It was challenging because
Yeah.
we were designing the whole thing during COVID.
Okay.
And we were working with a company in Germany, and then there was logistics in getting the 3D printer here. I mean, it was very complicated, the whole process. And then we learned a lot. We were trying to, I forget when we were printing, but I think it was in the summer, and the concrete was curing too fast because of all the heat.
Oh, interesting.
So we had to stop, and we had to tear down some of it and then reprint it. And we learned by just laying burlap over the top of it that was soaked, it kept the concrete wet and cured properly.
Well, that's what you're saying. You have to sometimes have
Audibles.
solutions on the fly. You have
Yep.
to run those audibles when
Exactly.
it's necessary. Yes, yes.
But it's a cool house. It's really fun.
Yes.
And we have a little chunk of it here in the office.
I'll have to check it out before
Yeah.
we head out. Well, we're starting to wrap up, but we're not quite done yet, if that's okay with
no,
you.
for sure.
So understanding you've been in business for so long and you
Yes.
have great talent that comes into your firm, learns from you, and then they are inspired to go off and start their own firm.
Yes.
How does that feel for you?
I have quite a few disciples out there.
Disciples, that's a good way to put it. I love it. I love it.
You know, it's part of the process. It's what I did
Yeah.
over time too, and it is what happens. I've got a couple people here that have been with me over 20 years, so that's pretty nice too. I love to watch people come in, learn, grow, and you know, whatever happens beyond that happens. You can't control it.
You can.
But you do your best to keep everybody here and keep the team together. I compare it just to like football, you know, football team. You got great players and some become free agents and go to another team. There's nothing you can do about it.
I think that's a healthy way to look at it, and just knowing too, I'm sure in your heart of hearts, you know, you still are proud of those people going off and venturing on your own, because like you said, it was something that you did.
Right.
You know, 5 years into being a drafter and just kind of seeing like the next part of the story for you.
It's a continuation of the legacy, hopefully, in some point. I mean, I tell people how honored I was to work with George Christensen for 18 years. I mean, he's a legend, you know. And so it was fun this last weekend. We had a house on the Phoenix Home and Garden home tour that was originally designed by George Christensen that I got to remodel 5 years ago.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it was mostly more of a refresh, but we remodeled a few quirky areas.
Yeah.
But what an honor it was to kind of continue that legacy. And it's neat because as I was working, I could really feel his soul and spirit in everything that I was doing.
Well, that's the thing with these homes. It's so inspiring because there is a soul to a home.
Totally.
There's an energy.
Totally.
There's a soul to a home. It's why I think, you know, we stick with it even through the tough times to understand that this is someone's dream. And
It's their sanctuary.
It is. That's a great word.
It is.
Sanctuary.
It's their sanctuary. It's where they go to get away, to rest, to make love, to cook. I mean, that's where they live. That's literally where they live.
And recharge.
Yes, and recharge.
And bring friends and family in.
Yep.
Yep. Well, architecture, music, you don't stop there. Cooking, we've learned, obviously that's a big part of what you do. But you also host a podcast.
Yes, Inspiring Living, it's
Lovely.
called. Yep.
And who do you usually have on your podcast?
So my podcast is really anybody who I find is inspiring.
Yeah.
So I just finished a podcast with a sports psychologist, doctor, and that was interesting. I did a podcast with the caretaker of my wife Isabel's father and the home that they run. I've had Austin King, who you mentioned,
Oh,
did
yes.
a podcast.
Yep.
He was on my podcast.
Yep.
So it's really a wide gamut of people that. What I find with podcasts is, I'm sure you find, is there's so much to people that you never really understand in just talking to them socially. But when you do an interview with them, you find out so much more about them.
You sure do.
And so I've loved just that whole aspect. It's like, I never knew you did that. I didn't know you were a bike racer and did all this stuff, or did bobsleds in the Olympics. What? You were a bobsledder? You know. It's a cool process.
Yeah, there's a complexity of human beings. If you just get to know them and just ask questions and being curious.
Right.
Yeah. And then it doesn't stop there. The list keeps going. You also have a book that you wrote.
Yes, Candelaria Homes. We published a beautiful book with Schiffer Publishing, and we're in the process now of just working on getting the second book published. And then I'm working on a third book for them on style and what makes a style. Like from a modern to transitional to traditional, what defines each of these styles and what does it mean?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're inspiring. I feel like I haven't done enough today, so go off and find some projects to do. So I like to ask this question of all of our guests. What would be one piece of advice, or it could be multiple pieces of advice that you would give to an aspiring architect that's coming, through school? Maybe they're finishing school, maybe they're not going to finish school. What would you tell them?
I would tell them that it is a long journey. Don't play for a sprint. It's a marathon you're about to embark upon. And I have found that the people who do stay at a firm for an extended period of time and not run away from problems, but stick through and learn from the problems, do much better than the ones that just hop and skip and jump around from firm to firm to firm. I just see them just in a spiral and they never seem to go anywhere.
Okay.
Whereas I've seen people who have stuck with firms for long periods of time. I can think of numerous examples. Those people have accelerated and just grown so much more because they've learned from the problems. They've learned to get through the cycles. And that'd be my takeaway. And it's a marathon.
That's a great takeaway. I mean, we even find with Sierra Pacific Windows, a majority of our sales force has been with the company for a long time.
Yeah.
Which says something about our story
and your culture.
Yes, and our culture and our dedication to what we do, doing the right thing, showing up, doing what we say we're going to do when we're going to do it. And there's always this joke that once you get into windows and doors, you never get out. So it's not a bad job to have.
Right.
Not a bad job to have. Working with your partners, so let's consider, a Sierra Pacific rep, maybe newer in the field, trying to build their book of business. What is important to you when they come and want to prospect you for a project?
And I can go back again 40 years of looking at all of the window and door reps I've had over the years.
Sure.
And who has stuck out in my mind as being people that I just thought were remarkable. And it's really, like we said earlier, just good communication. I'm always surprised at how few salespeople don't reach out. Like, I'm always shocked that I haven't heard from somebody in a long time. And I appreciate when they reach out and say, hey, we got a new product in, would you like to come see it? Yeah, I would love to see it. I want to know about these things.
Yeah.
I want to be the first to know about these things, because then I can show them to my client and kind of, you have the latest and greatest, and just the connection and follow-up and knowing that I can pick up the phone and they will take the call. And I've got this problem, or I've got this situation, or I'd like to do a door that's 20 foot tall. How do I do it? And get an answer.
Yeah.
Because I'm always going to go to the path of least resistance.
I think we all
and
do.
And if I have someone there that I know they'll pick up or they'll call me back, I love that.
Yeah. Being responsive.
Being responsive.
Yeah, and respectful.
Yes.
We all have busy days, and for you, I don't know, you've figured out, I think, to have 25 hours in a day. We all have 24, but just making the best use of that time.
Right.
So there's been some really powerful takeaways for us, Mark. I
Good.
really, truly appreciate your time with us today. Do you have any questions for Sierra Pacific Windows?
No, I just wanted to say, you made me think of this a few times during the interview. I had the honor of going to your factory and in California,
yes,
which is absolutely amazing. What your company does with the forest and the trees and the lumber and the wind, it's an amazing story. And I try to tell my team and people, if you have a chance to go to one of your tours like that, to go, because you will walk away learning so much.
It's important. I think it's impactful for our architects and our partners to understand that we're above and beyond windows and doors. There's a whole story to be told
it's incredible.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad that really...
It was very impactful for me.
Yeah, impacted you it seems to have bridged a gap between what we do as a window and door company and your philosophy
Right.
with bringing it into your home and inspiring living. So
Right.
I think that's a great place to thank you for the promotion.
Well,
and just a
it's true.
reminder, those plant tours are impactful. Lunch and Learns, you enjoy them.
Yeah.
You love to know the latest and the greatest. So making sure that you're getting out there in front of your architects. Don't be shy. Be bold.
Be bold.
Right?
Get out there.
Get out there. And on that note, Mark, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, thank you.
I really have enjoyed getting to know you, and I hope to do this again soon.
It's been a fun week with both
All
of you,
right.
so
Yes.
thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And with that, everybody, thank you again for joining us on Sales Talk, and thank you to Mark for being here with us today. We'll see you again next time.